Alright, it is about time for another Dokkanfest EZA 2 tier list update. So, from the last time I did this, we actually did do the AGL Zamasu and TEQ Trunks EZA 2 tier list update. When we got Future Gohan, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wait a little bit. Because I kinda, unless there's like a very prominent EZA, which I guess maybe Future Gohan came out very strong EZA, right? I didn't want to like do another one until we got the end of the worldwide celebration, and now we are sort of nearing the end, right? I mean, this last week I'm assuming should be the final update, which we're expecting LR Rosé's EZA, funny enough. So I think we're not gonna get any other Dokkanfest EZA to our, that to happen for the rest of the celebration. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's it. So we're gonna go ahead and do an update to this tier list, where we have gotten into Goku Black's EZA as well. And then we got in Future Gohan as well, which I did not cover in a tier list video. At least I don't think I did. I looked it up and I couldn't really find it, but maybe I'm silly and I forgot. Either way, I'll just do an update here. These two are going to be the main updates to this list here, so let's just go ahead and talk about it. Let's just hop right in and have some fun. So we'll just start, with the usuals, right? So at 10, I will have STR Cooler. I think that STR Cooler is able to be okay in some stages. At this point early on, though, he just gets absolutely demolished. STR LR Cooler's not really as good as he once was, of course. It's been a full year since that boy came out, and, whilst he's still pretty good in a lot of difficult content, right? A lot of these content, stages, even, like, after getting a few attacks turn 1, unless they're all, like, super attacks, normals could very, very easily damage him. But this unit is still very strong, 50% support in terms of the ability itself here. And if you take him into a longer event, he could stack up this defense like Omega, and he could actually become, quite nice as a unit overall. If you transform him, could become a pretty nice offensive unit if there's pure Hyper Saiyan enemies, which, we have been getting some, for example, the Sword of Hope Trunks event. This unit, like, if you hide him around, maybe he could be okay there, because the last phase is physical, right? But early on defensively, he will not be really that great at all. So yeah, I guess that's the one thing about this cooler. At this point, we're finally getting some of these enemies for like pure hybrid Saiyans to be interesting, but his total power for the shorter events isn't really going to be that great. So again, fingers crossed, maybe in the future we'll get a longer pure hybrid Saiyan enemy fight. I won't hold my breath though. Next we have STR Super Buu. Really, I think he's better than the cooler. I just feel like he doesn't have a team right now. Once he gets a team, I think this boy could actually pop off and even shoot up a little higher on the list. But there's just not really a good Majin Buu team right now for him to really take advantage of what he's able to get. And at this point, I don't want to like repeat every single thing about the kit, because at this point, we've talked about this guy for multiple tier lists specifically. Majin Buu Piccolo, though, a very nice support unit with damage reduction. This unit does suck. If you do get him, that's a detractor. And then this Buu Ultimate Gohan is also very, very good. If you don't guard with him, that could suck, obviously, but it is a 70% chance, and if you do get it off, he, could cook with triple supering, with the greatly raised attack and defense for 3 turns. He can be very, very powerful, this Buu Ultimate Gohan. Now, I have 17 here. I think, again, 17 is still a unit that could get better as time goes on, still even. He has the damage reduction, which you could get when you're under the threshold. If you do get that reduction, he is just... You could even potentially even say, yeah, I want him up a few like places up with the reduction active, but it's not going to be a thing you always get. And without the extra reduction, especially early on, he could be very, very squishy. Even with type advantage, right? I actually took him into the I did like a Blue Kaioken video, which I don't know if it's going to be out before this or after this. I think before this. But, even in early phase against Zamasu, he was kind of getting, like, cleaned up from these normals before he was fully built up with his defense, which, this right here, it's nice having a multiplicative defense passive. But, again, the mechanic to, like, I've said this, like, for such a long time, but the mechanic to take attacks to build up defense is just, like, a flaw it's like it's flawed design. It's just so dumb because you want to be able to tank the attacks in the first place. So you're just gonna take so much damage, and by the time you build up your defense, you lose so much HP, and you could just get one shot. For like a unit that's supposed to be defensive, I think it does really suck. For sure. Just very unfortunate. But other than that, I think the 17 could be quite strong. You know, his support abilities, 3 key and 60% defense or 77% defense to the whole rotation. Actually, it's right here. Just huge ability. So I do like him quite a bit. I think the 17, I like him. I think maybe a little more than other people. Now we have, what's it called? Oh, this is the wrong tab. Now we have TEQ Trunks here. TEQ Trunks, again, he's a unit that's like, you know, he's definitely weak the first turn, relatively weak. Once you get him here and in this form in a longer content, like even against Omega, this guy could kind of cook for sure. I think that he can cook if you're able to get like a lot of his additional super attacks, just a little bit, right? It's just that, again, with all the content we've been getting, we want units that are good straight away, which is really the issue with this unit. But in those long contents, you know, stages, he can look very nice. He has built-in crits here, so you can get some consistent damage with him as well. If he gets like 4 super attacks and they're all crits, and you know, stacking his defense, and he's on like turn 7 or 8 against Omega, like his defense can get really high. And like there's a chance that if you stack this guy up well enough, or like with the stalling team, you could like even potentially tank Omega Super maybe. Like at the very end, I could see like if you build a certain team where you like just super stall against the what's it called, almost at Omega, the TEQ Omega phase, you could even potentially even maybe tank the STR Super, right? It just depends on how many stacks this guy gets and how long you're able to stall. But I feel like a lot of the time you're just gonna get to the STR phase, and this guy will kind of get cooked up just a little bit depending on the team you're running, because these teams are just getting, again, more and more offensive, right? It's easy for these units to get more and more stronger offensively, which does hurt a unit like this. But if you do get the boosted, you know, version, I guess it's what the wiki's calling it, this version sort of version, you could like do so much damage to these bosses. It's actually quite insane, especially if you're able to get the 4 key spheres. This extra attack buff is very good, and if he's guaranteed critting, and if you get like an additional, dude, the damage he could do is just really nuts, right? And you're gonna want to build this guy with additionals anyways, because he has all these built-in crits. I think if I was gonna change anything about him, I don't think that this should have been like just a 3-turn raise. This should have just been a stack, right? And he should have kept this stack. I don't know why he doesn't. I think that's really stupid that he doesn't keep these as stacks for when he goes Super Saiyan. Like, the purpose of this is to make his first turn Super Saiyan stronger, but I just don't see the purpose of a stacking unit like losing those stacks, right? I don't like it a lot. I think he actually would be like so much like better, because it's like you get the stacks here, but then it's like you almost just lose it anyways, because you lose the 3-turn stack anyway. So it's like it almost makes it feel like this stack is pointless for the first turn, right? It's kind of weird. But I maybe I warmed a little to this Trunks, but I think he could have been a lot better compared to, you know, the other units we've seen. Again, let's put Physical Beerus here. Physical Beerus, I am a fan of him. I think that we're getting a lot of Realm of Gods enemies recently, like the Fusion Zamasu, the Rose Goku Black. We have the, what's it called, what's his face, the Zamasu Goku Black stage. We got the Fusion Zamasu tech, you know, Divine Wrath and Mortal Woe events. STR Vegeta Blue, this guy probably wouldn't be good in. Well, I mean, if you're using items, he does have a debuff. So maybe, because he can get 70% reduction. He's orb changing, right? Super effective. I guess you can get away with him in there if you're using like items, but you just have to be really careful with this boy. But if you attack debuff him enough, I could probably see it ending up working out. But yeah, this guy is eating, because the main issue with this boy is that he couldn't get his 7 orbs to get the full 70% reduction before he attacked. because there is no Realm of Gods category enemies. But guess what? Like, all the hardest fights in the game right now are like Realm of Gods category enemy besides Omega. And, you know, even in Omega at the end, he'll have type advantage at the very least, right? The STR phase can be dicey for sure. But if you are able to get the reduction, I've had this guy live Omega Super before he even attacks, right? Given you get the first hit, right? Because he does get this massive attack and defense buff, but like he's starting off like 300k plus defense, and then you're getting this buff for like 300k defense, and then you're getting this buff. He's shooting up quite a bit. I like this Beerus. I think Beerus is a very good EZ actually. His issue is that he doesn't have a really good partner. You have like STR Beerus and Whis is fine, but in these like Realm of Gods category, like, you know, events, that first hit they have to take to get the dodge, it really sucks. I think that what it should have been is it should have just been, I don't know, because against Omega it would suck if it's only the first 7 turns they have to dodge and stuff like that. But I mean, you're gonna want to run them against these Realm of Gods enemies anyways, and I'm sure they knew what the red zones were gonna be. So like all the way back when Beerus and we EZA'd back in like March. So if it was just like for the first 7 turns they had the high chance of dodge, or something like that, and the extra stats, it would have been multiplicative for the stats, but I think that would have been okay just to have the dodge, because having that dodge just up front would be really, really good for them. And again, having to take hit to gain defensive ability sucks, but this Beerus, you know, especially on the turn he has his active skill, he's just like invincible with the 7 orbs. He generates the rainbow orbs himself. You're almost like always getting the 7 orbs. This Beerus has gotten even better with these new stages, which is kind of crazy. I mean, like, I would still probably have Blue Gogeta over him. You know, this in specific, right? Because he's good. Like, he's consistently good everywhere with his dodge chance not being tied to a certain enemy, compared to Beerus's, like, I feel like his reduction consistency is tied to being against certain events. But you could probably argue, like, not as a unit, but in the current like game, like meta, or, you know, the bosses that are available right now, you could say like I like Beerus better than Blue Gogeta, and I would not like argue against that because of the bosses that are out now. But like, if we like fast forward into like, I don't know, like if we fast forward to like the anniversary in like 5 months or something, and it's like we're getting new bosses that are like, you know, pure Saiyans or terrifying conquerors or Majin Buu enemies, and like they're the hardest fights in the game. Beerus, you know, won't be cooking there, while, you know, Blue Gogeta as a unit, you could still probably get away with him because of his evasion. So that's kind of the idea there, right? Where it's just right now in the specific moment, you could say Beerus may be better, but I just think Gogeta across all the content will be just a little bit better. Okay, physical Piccolo. I don't really think I have to talk about physical Piccolo. And at this point, I think we have Blue Kaioken. I don't think I have to talk about Blue Kaioken either. I think they're like, you know, Piccolo's like super mega good defensively. Blue Kaioken is mega good offensively. I just think Blue Kaioken could carry you better than what physical Piccolo can do, even though he has the scouter and everything. You know, Blue Kaioken, you know, like you could probably take him into the new Fusion Zamasu Red Zone, which is the video before this. And I think you could easily be in the event with him. Like, obviously using items, but like you could be the event just because of this guy, like himself. Like, and the team is all like, you know, 20 units. It's just crazy. When you think of it that way, and it's like physical Piccolo can't carry the team like that. He just is in a better setup. But man, Universe Survival Saga is coming soon, and that's going to be really, really crazy. So I guess we should talk about the last units here. I think I'll have Future Gohan and then Zamasu. And yeah, I don't think Goku Black makes the list, so I wanna talk about him as well. Do I have him pulled up at all into Goku Black? Yeah, I do. So here's Future Gohan, Zamasu, and Goku Black. We'll talk about this boy first. Because obviously he said, you know, update the tier list, but like I don't think he makes this tier list. I don't think he's on here, by the way. I would have put like probably the EGO Goku Black or something, but that's why he wasn't up here. If you like notice that, you're like, oh, Goku Black's not on there. I guess you can kind of tell, right? But yeah, I just think he's just too weak early on. And like I'm saying, all these fights you want to be like further through like in the events, and it's like even in Omega, you could work with him in Omega, I think, which is really nice. He can work in Omega, and I've had him, I'll beat turn 11. He was able to live Omega Super Attack because he has these stacks. And if you're able to transform into this guy, which I think is pretty easy to do in Omega because the first phase doesn't really hit you hard, he gets this, and then, he's starting to stack up a lot. His attack passive goes up, and he could do like triple 10 mils with the 50% crit chance. And it's like, he looks like a DC unit, on like turn 11 or so. But it's like, if you're looking at the EZTURs, it's like STR Cooler. You think of him like turn like 11, where he's like having all these stacks up here. And then he's also giving this huge 50% support compared to Goku Black's support, which is like, it's like, there's more expansive, but it's just, I think, weaker support overall, because you're going to be, if you're running Cooler, you're running them with these allies anyways, right? So it's like, it doesn't really matter that he's only giving it to a certain category. It says a much stronger buff. And I think, that's where Cooler's a little better. At this point, these two, early on, they both like get absolutely like demolished. It's like not even like close. But Cooler as a unit would have this 50% support still, that even in base Goku Black doesn't have. And then you might not even transform with Goku Black sometimes, because you have to be above 60% HP in the short constant. Most Cooler, you're not really looking to transform him. So that's kind of the thought process there. Let me know what you guys think, though. I mean, I could see some people having this Goku Black like even at 10-9 on the list, right? It's all compared, like, it's all like your own list at the end of the day. But I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna put him here. Unfortunate. Now, in future Gohan, I haven't really talked about him. I think on an easy tier 2R tier list video, like I said, I don't think he's better than Zamasu. I think you could argue him as better than Zamasu. I think him and Zamasu definitely in the same realm of like arguments. Trunks condition got a lot easier. The HP condition could be a little like interesting, but it's like the thing about this guy, even if you don't transform with him, if you're under the HP condition, I didn't even click that. That means you have his reduction, which is really good. And this activates in the middle of the turn. So even if you take damage in the middle of the turn and you fall under 70%, which is probably what you want to want to happen, especially early on, you do get this full reduction, which is really strong. He has again a 50% chance to guard unit. If there's the Trunks, he has a high chance to guard on top of that, which I've gone up sometimes. He has these really strong defensive things called Judgment on the Family, and then if you transform with them, you get the you get the like guaranteed damage reduction. He's stacking attack, medium chance to crit. He's doing like 10 mil attack stats, right, with the crit chance built in. And then, he could quad super potentially, which is also very nasty. I mean, again, this is like, certain specific enemies, the newest red zones or the newest like events, like all the hardest enemies are Future Saga or androids, basically. I guess like the text first from so obviously you would count on that. So that does help this guy, because like against a lot of these like hardest events, he's doing this right here. But I think Zamasu overall will be better because he is stacking on top of having his damage reduction. He has this really nice heal. And then, again, 50% reduction plus stacking. Like, they're both, I would say maybe Future Gohan, I don't know, it's weird. It's very difficult, I feel, to really consider which one would actually be better, but I think Zamasu has the edge for sure. And then he also has this form that you can get out that could like absolutely wipe the enemy out. And he still has the stacks. He still has the 30% reduction. So like he could still live super attacks for the first like 3 turns where he gets this. And then if he triple supers with a high chance to crit, he just is very nasty. I think it's probably this form that makes me have him above Future Gohan, and the fact that he's as good as he is against any enemy compared to Future Gohan, who I feel like he does still want to be facing certain enemies. He does still want certain allies on rotation. And this is not really too bad to get, but he still wants certain allies a certain more specific setup compared to Zamasu, who I feel like even in the future you could probably just put Zamasu on any like big bad bosses team, and he still basically is as good as he would be anywhere else, right? Because that's his only defensive link, right? So if you're looking at him like defensively, yeah, I mean Fuse Fighter, sure, but you're not really gonna get Fuse Fighter except if you're a tech using Zamasu, right? But yeah, not that big of a deal to lose out on that. So I don't know. I think I like this. Actually, I do know. I like this list a lot. If I was gonna do tiers, I'm thinking like these 4 in the top tier. I think these 3 in a tier, then these 3 in a tier. Goku Black probably would fit this tier. I feel like TEQ Trunks is like a better version of Goku Black. Yeah. So that is it. That is the update here. Poor Goku Black. He probably would be like at 11, I guess. I mean, yeah, I think Goku Black is better than Transforming Vegeta. Is he? He might not be. Like Transforming Vegeta sucks, dude. Goku Black, man. At least he's fun. I think Goku Black is fun to use, right? Not to like fully hate on him. Where is this boy at? Is he like all the way back here? Like, yeah, I don't know. So yeah, let's hope LR Rose this week is gonna be better. But thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.